Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of the PodLigar podcast. Yay! Well, this is the first episode I'm actually recording in English. The PodLigar podcast is a Brazilian podcast. I am Brazilian, but I am studying abroad. And in the beginning, I was like super confused. I didn't know if I should record in Portuguese or in English because I am around a lot of international students all the time, but I still wanted to talk to my community in Portuguese. But now I've decided why choose. And here we are. So basically, welcome. This is the first episode that is going to be on Patreon. So if you're listening to this in Patreon, you're very, very welcomed here. Well, let's start. Today is to be or not to be the protagonist. And well, I am all for not to be the protagonist, honestly. And I know there are certain kind of people that just like, oh, I love being the protagonist. Oh, I couldn't be far from being the protagonist. I prefer to just be there and for people to be able to see me if they want to see me. If they don't, then that's awesome. That's totally fine. And honestly, I think both type of people are okay. Honestly, if you want to be the protagonist, be the protagonist. If you don't, you don't. But I think there are limits to being the protagonist, and people don't actually think about that. I don't see people talking about it a lot. So we're going to talk about it today. Well, the things about being the protagonist, right? Let's start there. Um well, being the protagonist is just being the main character. Being the one the storytelling revolves around. And that one person where all the action and the story depends on. It's a single POV. And I think at the end of the day, we are our own protagonists. There's no way of running away from that. Because at the end of the day, there is not a single human being known to man that can live, multiple lives at the same time. We can only have our own POV. We can only have our own perspective. Even though we try to be around people and have empathy and put ourselves in other people's shoes, we can only fully know our own perspective of things, no matter how much we read about other people's lives, etc. So, we only know how it is to walk in our own skin, and that's okay. That's literally life. But there are people that take this concept of being their own protagonist a little bit too far. Being the protagonist is good. It's actually awesome to think about yourself and think about your choices and feeling sure about yourself, mainly. Feeling sure about your actions, who you are, think that you're enough, thinking that you're enough, thinking that you're enough, thinking that your actions matter, that everyone thinks that your actions matter. Having people around you that support you and make you feel like you're on top of the world. That's honestly goals. Okay? That's the end goal right there. To have people around you that make you feel good, to feel good about yourself, to feel happy. However, I do think that there are moments where being the main character requires you to be selfish. Sometimes a little bit too selfish. And is being selfish important? Yes. I think it's totally important to be selfish. I think there are certain points in our life where we must be selfish, where there's no other way to be happy and to succeed if you're not selfish. Like, take me for an example. I used to live in Brazil, and I had the dream of studying abroad. My parents at first didn't want me to go, and I do have a whole life there. I have best friends there. I have a whole community, a whole safety net in Brazil. However, I had this dream and I have this life that I wanted for myself. And so I had to be selfish. I had to pick what I wanted, regardless of if it would, make other people uncomfortable or sad or I don't know, overall disappointed, because maybe someone, I don't know, my parents had an expectation of a life for me and I just went to a different path. So sometimes life requires you to be selfish. In order for life to move the way that you want it to, the way that you projected to achieve the goal that you set for yourself, you must be selfish. There is no other way. For example, I have this godmother, and when she was a teenager, she was dating my current godfather, and they were super like high school sweethearts, but she really wanted to study abroad. She really wanted to do like a um, study in the US and whatever. And so she broke up with him, went to study in the US, spent a few months there. And when she came back, they got together again and they got married. And now they're a big, happy family. So there's sometimes that even though you have stability and you have this like life for yourself, there are times to conquer your dreams, to achieve your goals, you got to be selfish. You got to think of what you actually want, what you actually need. And that's not wrong at all. As long as you're not harming anyone in the process, as long as all of your choices have a greater good, have a greater prospect for you, then I don't think it's wrong. I don't see anything wrong with it. Because at the end of the day, you're the only one who are gonna make things happen for yourself. If you don't study for that test, you're not gonna do well. If you don't prioritize your time, people are gonna take it for granted. If you don't prioritize your things for yourself, no one's gonna do it for you. No one's gonna do your nails for you, for example, if you don't sit and do them, if you don't take this time to take care of yourself. So life requires being selfish, but people confuse being selfish with just being self-absorbed and just being egocentric or narcissistic. And those are two completely different things. Because I feel like from 2020 till now, there has been this trend going on in social media where people are being incentivized into being the main character and being the it girl. What do you do to have a glow up? What do you do to be the it girl? What do you do to be famous and successful and desired? And, there are good things about that. People incentivizing people to believe in themselves, to take care of themselves. All of this like health environment where people are going to the gym and people are doing this and people are doing that in order to be healthy, in order to feel in their best form ever. And that's awesome. That's great. Honestly, that's great. That's one of the most like healthy parts of social media. However, there are limits to that. There are people that have been incentivizing each other to just, become the main character and think that they're on top of the world. And this incentivizes people to just maybe sometimes be emotionally unattached with anyone. So people don't care about other people's emotions anymore as long as they are the main character, because only their emotions like matter. Only their emotions are important. Only they know what's best. And let me kindly take you off that pedestal and put you right here in the ground of common sense. Because that's not true, darling. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry to bring it to you, but that's not true. You are never going to be the greatest person alive. Sorry to break it to you. You were never going to be the prettiest person ever. You were never going to be the hottest girl in the room. You were never going to be the most charming, the most funny, the most exciting person ever. Of course, maybe between you and your other two friends, maybe you were the funny girl. Maybe you were the, most conventionally beautiful girl. However, we cannot base our personalities and what we think of ourselves on those grounds. Because otherwise, you're just going to be miserable. Because there's always going to be someone better. There's always going to be someone that's maybe more conventionally pretty, more, I don't know, has better grades, that's smarter. Someone that has more money than you, someone that has more, I don't know, sexual appeal than you. There's always going to be someone better. And is that a reason for you to think that you're worse than, or that you're worthless, or that you should not receive the amount of, I don't know, gratification or attention that you do? Not at all. Not at all. But I think we just got to stay true to ourselves as well. We got to understand our limitations, because there has been this set of goals to make people perfect. And people are not perfect. No matter how hard you try, you were never going to be perfect. Especially because perfection is subjective. To be beautiful is relative. To be funny is relative. It depends who are you telling the joke to. It depends who are you talking to. Sometimes a person's going to think you're the most handsome guy alive. You're just hot. And then there's going to be her friend right next to her who thinks you're fugly, who thinks you're just, bruh, not it at all. Because that's just how people are. That's just how we think. That's just how we function. We have different tastes. And that's why I think it's so absurd that people have like this fucking like beauty standards. Because no one is ever going to be able to fully achieve them. Maybe these like selected set of people that like fill the genetic, requirements for that. But sometimes you're just going to have to spend a lot of money and surgery and doing this and doing that in order to fit into those things. Take the Kardashians as an example. They have put on butt fillers and boobs and then take off the butt fillers and then take off the boobs, because then the patterns change, and so they got to change with the patterns. Everything changes. Along with time, things change. Before, people used to love women with big boobs and big this and big that, and sometimes they still do in some like countries, because again, different places have different standards. But then in some places, that's just not it. They like the skinny little girls with almost no boobs, almost no nothing, just, skinny. That's okay. I mean, that's their beauty standard. But again, should you be forced to fulfill that place, even though you don't belong to it? And I don't say you don't belong to it as in you're too ugly to be like that, or you're not funny enough to be like that, or you're not intelligent enough to be like that. No, I'm just saying you're too good to be like that. Sometimes you're too good to fit into that one box. Sometimes you're too unique to be like all of those clones that try and look like each other. Because that's what's going on. If you go on social media and you can see a lot of pretty girls different from each other. But then if you go in certain niches, you're going to see that everyone pretty much looks like each other. Even the guys. The guys, oh my God. At least, like, sometimes when you go to Brazil and you go to the malls, you see like this group of high schoolers and they all look the same. Same haircut, same shirt, same like kind of like shoes and pants. They look the same, all of them. And they all have similar names as well. So it's just freaky. People are trying to fit into patterns that don't necessarily fit them. And I say this for a lot of stuff, okay? Even personality-wise. Oh, be demure. Oh, be nonchalant. Oh, be mysterious. Fuck being nonchalant. Being mysterious, rather. Fuck it. Okay? I couldn't care less about being mysterious, okay? I have a fucking podcast. I talk my ass off here. I cannot be mysterious. that's just not who I am, okay? I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say, and that's it. And if you're happy with it, you're happy with it. If you're not, you're not. And that's just life. That's just how it is. We just gotta embrace our personalities and embrace who we are and accept that. Because in a world where you can buy everything that you want, if you want a new boob, you can buy it. If you want a new nose, you can buy it. If you want a new, like, fucking eye color, you can buy it. Just gotta have enough money. But you can buy it. In a world where you can, quote unquote, buy happiness, buy acceptance, buy beauty, then there's no self-acceptance. There's only social acceptance. And that's why sometimes you see people like changing themselves every single month, finding a new defect, a new flaw, because people have forgotten how to accept themselves and look at themselves in the mirror, see that they have flaws and be okay with it and be just fine with having this one freckle, with having this one cellulite in your ass, with having, like, I don't know, this one thing on the bridge of your nose that does not look like Barbie's nose. People have forgotten to just accept the way that they are and think that they're beautiful for it. Because now, especially on social media, there's always someone to tell you that you are not this beauty standard. And it's okay that you're not the beauty standard. You don't have to be a standard in order to be beautiful. That's what standard means. It's just basic. It's just a line. It's a standard. It's a pattern. You can be above the standard. You don't have to try and mold yourself 1,000 times over and over in order to be considered hot or beautiful or smart or interesting, for that matter. And people have forgotten that. People have forgotten that they do matter, regardless of how they look like, regardless of what they do. If you're just living, if you're just going out, doing things for yourself, accepting who you are, living life in a way that makes you feel happy, then that's enough. There is going to be someone out there who's going to appreciate that and it's going to think, oh my God, that person's so hot. Because also, sexual attractiveness is subjective. Like, I, for instance, I think it's super hot to be smart. I'm sorry, if you're a guy and you're smart, holy shit. I lose my marbles. Honestly. Show me your brain, not your abs. But I like the abs though. Just kidding. Anyway, so sorry, I lost my track here. Okay. At the end of the day, you are who you are. And there's always gonna be someone who's gonna appreciate that, regardless if you're the main character or not. And I think that people that think that they're the main character, sometimes they lose themselves. Sometimes they're so caught up in the idea of being perfect and being accepted and being this and being that, that they just lose themselves. They lose the people that matter to them. They lose the people that actually, like, would care about them the way that they are, just because they're so caught up in the idea of being this perfect version and being this and being that, that they just can't sustain it anymore. And I'm here to give you 3 examples, okay? 3 things that I saw recently that really really show that. For example, um, I forget the name of the TV show, but it's this TV show that goes on Discovery Home and Health. In Portuguese, the literal translation of the show is Deadly Weight, but I don't know the name in English. So you guys will have to Google if you don't recognize from my description. But anyway, is this like show where um there's like people with obesity, and they show their journey in in weight loss, and their surgery, the challenges that they go through to get into the certain point where they are happy and healthy. And many times when the person in the show is a woman and she has a partner, it's very common to see that the partner, once they lose, like, I don't know, 100 pounds, the partner leaves them because they're quote unquote too skinny for them. I'm sorry. If your partner, in order to be attractive to you, has to have their life threatened by weight gain, then you're just sick and twisted. And I say this with all my heart. You are just weird. Because and most of all, you never actually liked them. Because to like someone is to wish the best for them. If you actually love that person, if you actually like that person, you're not going to want their life to be threatened in order for you to think that they're attractive. And so this would always shock me, because how self-absorbed must you be in order for your standards in a partner to revolve around their weight or the way that they look like fully? Because of course, maybe you fell in love with them because of their looks and because of their personality. But as you continue with the relationship, that feeling changes. Okay, sometimes people gain weight, sometimes people lose weight. But what stays is who they are, who they actually are to you. And so if all of that goes away just because they lost a little weight, or because, well, not a little, a lot of weight, or let's say gained a lot of weight, then that's just, to me, that's peak main character. Because at that point, you think that your wants and needs matter more than other people's, regardless if it harms them or not. What matters is you in your life and what you think is best. That's feeling like the main character. It's putting yourself in a pedestal where everyone else is below you. Where if that certain person doesn't fit what you want or what you need, then they're just discardable. And that's not true, is it? People are just, you can just throw people in the trash and move on with your life. You can just discard people whenever you want to. Because there is this emotional accountability and responsibility that we must have with other people, especially when we're in a relationship with them. And sometimes acting like the main character takes that side of empathy from people. Another example is my friend. She was like a few days ago, she was going back to her college campus because she went out shopping and she was coming back, right? She was in the metro, and this girl entered at some point, and she was like super well dressed. And being a girl's girl, my friend, approached the girl and she was like, "Oh my God, I love your shoes." Like, just wanted to hype her up, you know? She looked good. And the girl, the first thing that she said, she looked at my friend, looked her up and down, and said, "I'm straight." As if my friend was hitting on her. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with just, getting a little bit mixed up. Maybe she's around of a lot of people from the LGBT community and she's used to being, um, I don't know, how do you say this? Like, hit on. But think about this. How self-absorbed must you be for when someone compliments you? The first thing that goes through your head is, they want to fuck me. They 100% want to be with me. They're so into me right now. And maybe they are. Maybe they are. But it's not even the way that you think. It's the way that you act about it. So if she could have just said thank you. If you don't know how to take a compliment, maybe you could have just said thank you. Laugh a little, awkwardly laugh. Smile. Move on with your day. But then there are 1,000 different ways she could have gone through that. For example, let's say my friend was hitting on her. Was that a good response? She wasn't even being rude to her. She was actually smiling. She was saying like, "Oh my God, I love your shoes." Usually people say, "Oh my God, thank you. I love your hair. I don't know, your bag. I love this. I love that." I don't know. Or just, "Thank you. I'm going to dinner with my girlfriends." Haha. And so people have entered this mindset where they're so important and they're so hot. And they're so the it person that it's okay to just be rude to people and just dismiss them as if they're nothing, as if they're peasants. Again, step down on the pedestal. Look at yourself in the mirror. Chill a little bit, I'm not saying look how ugly you are. Get over yourself. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you're a regular person. Yes, you can be beautiful. Yes, you can think you're beautiful. Yes, you may be hot as fuck. But that doesn't give you the right to just dismiss people like that. Because at the end of the day, if you think that you need to make people feel worthless or feel bad about themselves or just embarrass people in order to feel better about yourself, then that's not self-esteem. That's just self-gratification. If everyone's bad, then it's easy to think good things about yourself because you're not like them. You're better than the bad people. But if you can deal with the fact that everyone's good, but you're maybe a little better, maybe you think that you're a little more beautiful or a standout from them, even though they're good, they're beautiful, they're the best. If you can't be the best among the best, then you don't actually have a self-esteem. Because having a self-esteem doesn't require you to make other people seem lower or seem worse than. Having a self-esteem is actually thinking that you're good despite other people being good as well. It's thinking that you are worth something despite other people being worth it as well. It's seeing your own importance among important people. That's self-esteem. So no, I'm not in favor of acting like you're the protagonist. I'm in favor of being the protagonist of your own life of seeing importance in your own actions. But if you gotta be the protagonist in a way that diminishes other people's feelings and thoughts and ideas and makes other people feel bad about themselves, then I completely disagree. And that's basically it, guys. In conclusion, I just wanted to say real quick, I saw this TikTok the other day, and there was this woman, she was saying, I was married to this guy for like 10 years of my life. And during this marriage, I acted completely different from who I was. I was trying to fit into what he wanted me to be. And I was trying to be, a little bit more polished, a little bit more fancy than what I actually am. And well, of course, the marriage didn't last. And now she's remarried with this other person. But she said in the video, she was giving like dating advice. She said, don't ever try and be someone that you're not in a relationship. Show that person exactly who you are. Don't try and tell him that you like soccer if you don't. Don't try and act like you like, I don't know, this type of music if you don't. Be who you are. And the people that like you, the people that love you, the people that will love you regardless. And that's what I have for you today. I hope you liked this episode. I hope you liked our conversation. And feel free to comment and put, I don't know, other topics that you would like me to cover or things that made you think about it as well. And I'll see you on the next one. Listen to the PodLigar podcast, also on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, and Patreon. Don't forget to be a member on Patreon and get exclusive content and other episodes as well. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!